Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Heather and I'm a full-time reseller on both eBay and Amazon. Today, I'm in my storytelling chair because this video is going to be a little bit different than usual. And I'm completely off script here. I normally have like notes and bullet points to follow in my videos so that I don't get completely lost and off track and I hit all the things I want to talk about, but I don't have that today. So you're gonna have to indulge me in a little bit of a meandering story here. The point of this video is to illustrate how things can have a cascading effect in a way that you may not have expected. And it all starts with my reselling. So yes, even though this is a meandering story, at its core, it is a story about a reseller and reselling. So without further ado, let's just get into the story. Roll the intro. So this all starts with my weekly trip to the bins. I started incorporating the bins into my routine within the last year. I go there once a week and I pick out usually smalls. I usually don't spend more than $4 there a week. And in previous videos, I've talked about my love of Chuck E. Cheese memorabilia, my love of Chuck E. Cheese cups specifically, because I used to work there in high school. This is my lanyard and everything that I kept from my time there. I worked there from 2004 to 2006. And on this particular trip to the bins, I find a plastic Chuck E. Cheese cup. At least that's what 99.9% of people would think. They would just pick up a cup and be like, this is pretty light. It's not gonna cost me much at the bins. Look it up on eBay. I can probably sell it for 15 to 20 bucks. Hey, that's a pretty good bin score. You throw it in your cart, you get home, you list it, you get your 15 to 20 bucks and you move on with your life, right? But you know me, I can never just make things simple because all of my little things that I do in my life really like converged on this cup right here. Because there are some interesting things about this cup that make it worth more to people than I think people had been selling it for up until this point. Because this is no ordinary Chuck E. Cheese cup. This is the Inappropriate Chuck E. Cheese cup. It has lore online, which at this point I was trying to find and I actually couldn't find much evidence of it besides one DeviantArt picture of somebody calling it inappropriate, but I swear I've heard from other people in the Chuck E. Cheese community that were calling this an inappropriate cup. So I did not just make it up, but I can't find much evidence of it today. But I knew when I found this cup at the bins, hey, that's that inappropriate Chuck E. Cheese cup that people were laughing at for a while. But what makes it inappropriate is just one of the interesting things about this cup. And I had never seen anyone else talk about the other points. So first I'll cover why it's an inappropriate Chuck E. Cheese cup. And this is not me calling it inappropriate. This is just the stuff that I had heard and seen from other people in the Chuck E. Cheese community. So I'm just repeating what I've heard. So this cup has a hole in the back where you put the straw. And Chuck E. Cheese serves straight straws, and they usually serve like a plastic straw with it. If it's like a promo cup like this, it comes with its own straw. But I can't find a straw to go with it. But the funny thing is if you get it home and you turn Chuck E. Cheese around so that the hole faces the front of him instead of the back, and you put a bendy straw in it, he looks pretty proud of himself with his straw sticking out there. It's not gonna suck itself. And so after adults, it's mostly adults because we both know that children do not have that kind of mindset with things. You know, adults saw it, got their hee-hee ha-has. It became sort of like an in-joke, a piece of lore. This cup is inappropriate because of the straw placement. And the other interesting thing is, this cup is actually kind of uncommon. So when I looked it up on eBay, when I found it at the bins, I want to say there was only about 2 listed. So it's not like hard to find, but it's also not as plentiful as some other cups. So for that reason, people were saying that, you know, it's not common because they didn't produce it for a long time because they figured out, oopsie, it's inappropriate. I guess we shouldn't manufacture it anymore. But after I got my hands on this cup and looked at it for a while, I was like, there's some other things about this cup that are weird that maybe contributed to it not being sold for a long time. Number one is that this is an old model of Chuck E. Cheese. You'll remember I said this cup was made in 2012 and that's confirmed at the plastic at the bottom. But Chuck E. Cheese moved on from this model of Chuck right around the time I started working there. I'd say by 2004, they weren't using this cool Chuck model. They had moved to the purple shirted, baseball cap or helmet wearing Avenger Chuck. So from this point on, it was almost always purple shirted Chuck E. Cheese. It was not this older model. So it's really weird to me. I was like, why in the world would they be using this model of Chuck E. Cheese in 2012? Unless they had like these toppers made sometime way before I started working there and just dug them out. But why would they do that? And then the other interesting thing about this cup, I don't know if my camera will focus, I might have to do it in post, is it says, "Where Kids Rule, Registered Trademark." Now, you might be forgiven for not knowing the Chuck E. Cheese tagline because you didn't work there or you don't care about Chuck E. Cheese. But the most predominant tagline for Chuck E. Cheese has always been "Where a Kid Can Be a Kid." It has never been "Where Kids Rule, Registered Trademark." So I was like, what in the world? What is this tagline? This is not a tagline that they've ever openly used in commercials and stuff. And I did some research to confirm that I wasn't just making that up. I went on the US Trademark website and looked up all the ones owned by CEC Entertainment. And of course, "Where a Kid Can Be a Kid" is on there, as well as some other slogans that they had used for like short promotions and stuff. But I was correct. At no point did they ever even register "Where Kids Rule." They never even filed for it. So what are they doing putting a registered trademark on a slogan that they never trademarked? And with that, the rabbit hole got really deep. I was like, I don't know. Maybe all of this kind of meshes together and that's why the cup is not in circulation as much as the others. Maybe it's because of the weird trademark, or maybe it's because they were just throwing some stuff out there. Like, all of these things just seem like rejects, right? This seems like something that wouldn't have existed in 2012. So why would they be putting this out in 2012? My theory was that they were just, sweeping up stuff that they hadn't used yet, that they had modeled and maybe not put into production, slapped an old model Chuck E. Cheese on it because they just wanted to get rid of them, and they wanted to get rid of this cup, specifically in 2012, because that is when they switched models entirely from this model Chuck E. Cheese, any color shirt, to the little pocket-sized mouse Rockstar style Chuck E. Cheese. I realize that's not a very interesting tidbit or conspiracy theory, but it was just the theory that I put forth for maybe why this cup exists the way it does. And so I thought that was an interesting story. And up until this point on TikTok, I had started doing an interesting thrift find series. Some of the videos were doing well, some of them weren't. But I was trying to get in the habit of, if I have something interesting that I thrifted, I'm gonna make a little short video about it, because I was making it a goal of mine to get monetized on TikTok by the end of the year. Because I had another video get about 1 million views about AI stuff that I just made out of nowhere. I was like, it sure would be nice if I could get paid for those 1 million views, but I couldn't. So I wasn't gonna make that mistake again. I was at least gonna try and make content to get there. So I make my 4-minute long TikTok about this Chuck E. Cheese cup. I tell them about how it's inappropriate. I tell them about how the tagline does not make any sense, how this model Chuck E. Cheese was not being used in 2012, and how all of it in like conjunction is just incredibly weird. Imagine my surprise where within the first 12 hours of releasing that video, it gets 1 million views. And it's up to, I think, almost 6 million views if it's not already there at this point, like a little bit over a week later. So needless to say, that video went crazy. It got picked up by the Daily Dot, which sounds really important, but all they seem to do is recap viral TikToks at this point. So like, it's not like a real news picked it up or anything, but I was blown away. I was like, I thought maybe 1,000 people would give 2 shits about this plastic Chuck E. Cheese cup, but it turned out a lot of people like Chuck E. Cheese lore as much as I do. And I'm happy to oblige and make more Chuck E. Cheese videos, because that video got me to my 10,000 subscriber mark on TikTok, and now I can be monetized. I currently have 1 video in the creator program, and it's got like 200,000 views at this point. Last time I checked, they're gonna pay me over $100 for that video, just that one little follow-up video. So it's absolutely nuts to me that I could potentially make more money on TikTok as a content creator talking about the things that are interesting to me than I do making all of this highly produced content for YouTube. Because while YouTube pays per 1,000 very well, I'm finding that it's very hard to get those views. Like, I'm thankful for anybody who views my videos. I'm thankful for you for sitting here and watching me talk about a plastic cup, but I just haven't broken through to that level. I cannot sustain more than about 2,000 views per video on average. Sometimes I get one that shoots up more than that, but it's nothing like TikTok where I have a 1 million, I have a 500,000, I've got almost 6 million at this point. So it has opened up a new door for me, all because I went to the bins, I found something that interested me, I found out even more about it that I didn't know going into it, I shared that with other people who thought it was just as interesting, and now the trajectory of my life and my content creation has changed. But that's not all, because of course, as a reseller, my goal in buying this cup was not to buy it and talk about it. That was just kind of a happy side effect. Ultimately, it was going to be to sell it. And I was probably going to list it for $20, $25 because that was the going rate for this cup as it was when I found it. But because my video went viral, mega viral, the amount of people in the comments who were begging to buy this cup shot way up. So I did the only logical thing as somebody who resells for a living. I put it up for auction on eBay. It ended up selling for $102, and yes, the buyer already paid. So not only did stopping to make a video about this change the trajectory of my content creation and now gives me another stream of income, I essentially created a market for this Chuck E. Cheese cup that didn't originally exist, or at least I popularized it because the lore was there. I just talked about it. And now anyone who finds one of these cups, you probably got a boost in selling it thanks to me, which was completely unexpected and not the point of making the video, but it was kind of like a happy accident. So I guess what is the point of this video? I guess it would be that if you're at all interested in content creation, don't be shy. Just make the video and put it out there. Like I said, I thought I might get 1,000 views on that video, and it got way more than that. If there's something you know a lot about or you're passionate about, just make the content. Even if you're like a little bit interested, you don't need anything besides your phone. You don't need to do YouTube if you don't want to. You don't need to do Instagram. You could just do TikTok on your phone if you really wanted to. Because who knows, maybe some interesting thing you find at the bins and you happen to talk about in your video and it goes mega viral, and then you can sell that item for more than you originally expected. It's just a neat thing to talk about for what happened to me. And of course, it was a story that I had to tell before I go ahead and package this and ship it out to its new owner. But imagine if I hadn't stopped at the bins that day. Like, I wouldn't have this. I wouldn't have an extra $102. I wouldn't have gotten monetized on TikTok quite so quickly. Like, it's crazy how one find at the bins can really just change everything. Anyway, thank you so much for watching me and my meandering story. I really appreciate it. If you're not already, follow me on Instagram, follow me on TikTok, and subscribe to my channel because I put out at least one video a month all about my full-time reseller adventures, be it thrifting for eBay or retail arbitrage for Amazon. Drop a like on this video if you liked what you saw, or you're like motivated to just finally start that TikTok account. Now get out there, have fun, and find some lore of your own.